Welcome back to Boss Beat. I'm Ben Lichtenwolner, and I don't have my slides ready. Here we go. Let's get this back up. There we go. All right. I want you to imagine a world where laughter fills the air in places of healing, where doctors are jesters and hospitals are homes filled with joy. This isn't a fantasy, but it's the reality envisioned by a man whose name is synonymous with the healing power of empathy. Today, we'll explore that man's exemplary empathy as we focus on another episode of Boss Beat, a latte of leadership for those seeking to be and build better bosses in business. I'm Ben, and yes, I do like my bees. You probably heard of Hunter Doherty, otherwise known as Patch Adams, from the Robin Williams movie about him, for which the movie is named. The real Dr. Patch Adams dared to challenge the medical status quo, armed with nothing but his boundless empathy, a red nose, and an unshakable belief in the power of care that goes beyond traditional medicine. Adams' earliest memories of empathy came from growing up in Virginia in the early 1960s. He recalled, as I quote, "I was placed in an all-white school where I immediately was confronted with the ugliness of segregation. I got in trouble with my classmates and was beaten up for standing up to the racism that surrounded me. As a result, social justice and community health remain major themes through his work to this day." His journey into the world of medicine began with his own voluntary admission into a psychiatric hospital. Late in his teens, he struggled with depression and suicidal thoughts. While seeking help, he was terribly disappointed or even shocked by the stark reality of the healthcare system at that time. He left that facility at 18, convinced there was a better way. He believed empathizing with patients, treating the person, the family, and the community, not just the disease, was the solution to better healthcare. So Adams created the Gesundheit Institute, not just a hospital, but a vision of what healthcare should be. The Gesundheit Institute operated as a free community hospital focusing on holistic and patient-centered care for many years. Primary focus balanced the primary focus balanced scientific treatment with compassion and human connection. To develop his vision of greater patient empathy, Dr. Adams created 6 principles for the Gesundheit Institute. First, care is free. No third-party reimbursement, private or public insurance would be accepted. Second, no malpractice insurance would be carried. That may seem crazy today, but to Adams, trust was a cornerstone to the healing process. Reliance upon malpractice insurance created an environment where there was a lack of trust between caregiver and care receiver. Third, initial interviews with patients would be 3 to 4 hours long. When was the last time in our current medical environment you got 20 minutes of uninterrupted listening from your medical provider? Fourth, the health of the caregiver is as important as the health of the care receiver. Tell me that doesn't scream of servant leadership, right? At the end of the day, we must be serving all those who work for us. We must be caring about all those we serve. That emphasis on the healthiness, that both mental and physical readiness of the caregiver as much as the care receiver was another of the 6 core principles. Fifth, patients are treated as friends. Adams believed that this was also key to good recovery and healing, that we didn't view patients as customers or third parties, or worse, view them as the disease itself, but they are friends, a cornerstone principle. And sixth, all complementary medicines are accepted. not just prescriptive drugs, not just clinical diagnoses, but all medicines, including laughter and healing, and an environment where people felt loved and welcomed and cared for. Adams is changing the world of medicine to be more empathetic. The result of his work can be seen in the way patient care is approached in medical education today. They teach a greater emphasis on bedside manner. Could also call that empathy. And they also practice empathy for patients and their families more in their training and in their development as doctors. Perhaps more importantly, the medical system today has welcomed what they now call clown care, something it never would have conceived or permitted a few short decades ago. Now, each weekday when we have an episode of Boss Beat, we cover one of the core principles, today's being empathy, and we cover some attributes that support that. First attribute that supports empathy is encouraging the heart. When someone has a vision, passion, or calling deep down, we often refer to that as their heart. Encourage the heart of your people. Adams knows deep down our hearts all yearn for health and joy. He encourages that with laughter. How are you encouraging it for your people? And speaking of your people, the second attribute is valuing people. If you ever worked for an employer who did not value people, you know why this is vital. Leaders who do not value people never have the best people around for very long. If you want the very best on your team, in your organization, driving results, it begins with valuing people. And the third attribute, healing. Have you ever wrestled with a bad boss or bad guidance? Guess what? So have the people that you serve. Those experiences affect us in different ways. You may have bounced back no problem. Someone else may have suffered very real psychological trauma. If you help those people heal, reinforce their value, support them in the work environment, they will become some of your best employees. So whether you are healing the physical body or the emotional person in the workplace, focus on healing for greater results. As you move forward, we also like to leave you with a good quote to help inspire you and motivate you and drive you from leaders who have practiced these principles. Today's comes again from Mr. Adams. I love this quote by him. He says simply, "See what no one else sees. See what everyone chooses not to see, out of fear, conformity, or laziness. See the world anew each day." As you seek to be and build better boss behaviors in yourself and those you serve, here are some challenging questions to ask yourself. Who are you not seeing the whole person in today? And how will you change that moving forward? Every episode of Boss Beat, we cover one of the 7 core principles of great leadership, known as the acronym model of servant leadership, populating on your screen now. Why? Because most of the fantastic leadership books out there focus on one person's lived experience. What they think based on what they've seen, heard, or done makes a great leader. The acronym model of servant leadership is based on over 2 decades of studying all these great books and condensing and consolidating them to those 7 core principles. So you know the advice you get here is tried and true, practical, and applicable. If you like this sort of tried and true, practical, and applicable in the trenches reality of leadership for bosses in the business, then please check out modernservantleader.com. There you will find gobs of free resources as well as courses that I teach on this topic. I'm Ben Lichtenwalder. Until next time, my friends, keep serving.